this is obviously not a guarantee for a higher reach, for virality. Hey there, my name is Sinem and I'm a Medium writer with millions of views on my stories and over 50,000 followers on the platform. And in this video, we are going to talk about a few different misconceptions or lies or beliefs about Medium publications that a lot of writers have, especially beginners, but sometimes also people who have been on the platform for a very long time. I started to write on Medium back in 2018, have since published more than 550 articles on the platform, and pretty much all of them are placed in publications. And even though the landscape is changing a little bit, publications are still a significant part of the platform. They do play a huge role. They kind of made this whole place what it is today. And if you're a beginner on Medium, or you're struggling with your audience, or you really just want to improve your experience on the platform, my big recommendation is to take a look at publications and figure out if there are existing publications who do operate in a niche that makes sense for you, where your stories could have a home apart from your profile, where they could be discovered by readers who are already interested in a specific topic, because that's the purpose of publication. If a publication is already established, then it means that there are readers who are reading stories of this publication. They're actively looking into the publication, they're following the publication, maybe they're receiving newsletters. And by you putting your stories into the publication, you are able to make use of that audience that is already established, that is already saying, hey, here I am. I want to know more about this topic. I want to read more stories about XYZ. And this is obviously not a guarantee for a higher reach, for virality or anything. But the truth is, you don't lose anything, like ever, by publishing in a publication. Even if you publish your story in a publication, it is also available on your profile. You have all the rights, so there's nothing you could really do fundamentally wrong by working and collaborating with high-profile publications. And this is actually a keyword here, because one of the things that a lot of people don't know about that I have learned during my journey is that most publication owners and editors don't get compensated for their efforts. Most publications on Medium are hobby projects or side projects that nobody is actually making money of. This is important to note because this explains why publications sometimes have such a long waiting period, and why editors of publications are actually often not qualified to edit an article. And this is actually the second lesson that I've learned, is that just because someone is an editor of a publication doesn't mean he actually knows how to write well, or how to attract an online audience, or how to do well on Medium. And this is kind of tricky because a lot of beginners on Medium, they trust publications and their editors. They think if they get published in a publication, it's a huge win and they did something correctly. And that's partly true. If your story is published in a major publication like The Startup, like Personal Growth, like The Writing Cooperative, like Mind Cafe, Curious, all those big name publications, it means that you've done something correctly, because it is hard to get into those publications. But if you submit your story to a new or low volume, basically low performing publication, and it gets published there, it doesn't necessarily mean that your story was good. Maybe they are publishing everything they receive. Maybe they are just trying to publish more. Maybe they don't even look at the story before they publish it. You don't know. And you could know if you do research and if you take an honest look at what they've published previously. And if they publish stories with lots of mistakes, for example, it's a sign that it is not really a trustworthy publication. Because if a publication is trustworthy and established, they will be careful about what they publish. And if you get published there, that's a big win. But if you get published in small, new, no-name publications, it's not necessarily a win. It could mean that they are just desperately looking for more stories from various different writers. So in a nutshell, just keep in mind that everyone can start a publication. And obviously this means that being published in a publication is not a huge win per se. It's only a win if the publication is actually established and trustworthy and large. And large can be defined in various ways because some publication topics or some topics on Medium are just more popular than others. So always do your own research, but be aware of the fact that you could start a publication right now without any boundaries. Like, anyone can do that. So the fact that somebody is a publication owner or is an editor doesn't mean that they know what they're doing, and doesn't mean that they are actually selective in picking the stories they publish on the platform. And last but not least, the third lesson you should be aware of is that publications care more about their readers than they do about writers. This is a common theme across the entire platform, across Medium. Medium cares more about its readers than about its writers. For a very good reason, because readers are who pay for a subscription and who expect high quality writing. If a writer submits to a publication, he is one of many, usually, especially if it's a established, high quality and popular publication. Now, if you want to get in there, you really have to provide something exceptional, because odds are high that you are competing with hundreds of other writers who are submitting their stories in any given day. And you need to be aware of the fact that the publication doesn't really care about you as the writer. They only care about your story, and they only ask themselves if the story is going to be helpful and valuable for their readers. At the end of the day, even established and big publications, or especially established publications, they look at their numbers too. They want to drive their numbers up. They want to get more views, more readers, and more engagement. So if you can help them achieve that through a well-written and engaging story, they will happily take it. If they cannot really rely on your story because they think it's weak, it's poorly written, or it doesn't make sense for their specific audience, they are going to reject it, because their primary focus is always going to be the reader. And it has to be, because the readers are the consumers of the platform, and we as the writers, we are here to create value, to be of service, and to serve the platform and its readers. So when working with publications, or trying to work with publications for the first time, for example, always keep that in mind. Try to be of as great of value and write engaging stories. Do some research, look at their latest published articles, and try to find common themes. What are the types of stories their readers are currently enjoying? What are some trends the publication has experienced in the last couple of months? Or what are topics that you believe are underserved? What is a story that you believe is really worth being in that publication, but that hasn't been written yet? If you can always think of creating value for the publication, which is ultimately creating value for its readers, you will have a much higher chance to get published in major publications who have an established audience and who might expose your stories to thousands of readers. Alright, that's it. Those are the 3 lessons about publications on Medium that I wish every beginner would actually discover a lot earlier, that I wish I had discovered a lot sooner. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date. And if you're looking for additional insights, tips, and tricks on how to grow your audience and income online, especially by writing on Medium, make sure you check out our free resources that we've linked below in the description box.